Welcome back to episode 2 of Falling in Love with Tacoma, the Wonder podcast.
If you don't know who Mellie is, she's a Tacoma native. How long have you been living in Tacoma? 30 years. 30 years.
I'm 40 years old. We got here when I was 2 or 3 from Japan. My dad was Air Force. I was born in Japan. My mom's Korean. My dad was in the Air Force, so I was born in the U.S. Embassy, American Village in Japan, in Yokota. And then we came to Tacoma, which actually we lived in the Spanaway Parkland area most of my life. And since then, I've lived all over Tacoma. University Place, Point Defiance. I've lived at Hilltop. I lived in Midland for a while.
Yeah.
Which is unincorporated Tacoma. So definitely all over Tacoma. And I'm still here.
Yes, we are going to be talking about something a little personal.
Okay.
We're going to talk about what it means to grow up in a city and then spend your career selling it, selling the homes in the city. It's really cool that you grew up in Tacoma because I feel like that's special. You don't always meet a real estate agent who grew up in the city and then knows all the ins and outs. So we're going to be talking about that. Mellie has a special perspective. That's not just the market. She knows the vibe. So the first question that we're going to ask Mellie is going back to when you were your childhood, what was Tacoma like when you were growing up?
You're little, and I grew up, in the 90s. So we didn't have.
We're in the 90s.
Yep. It's not like I had access to the World Wide Web yet. A lot of it was Parkland Spanaway to me, right? Mm-hmm. And Spanaway Park, Sprinker Recreational Center. I grew up a lot around over there. I would say in my preteens, I did not love it. I always wanted to move far away. I thought it was crazy when people were like, they living in the same place, or they'd be like, I had the same teacher when, back in the 70s. And I was just like, why are they still living in the same place? Yeah. That was crazy to me.
You kind of, as a child, you had different opinions, but you thought moving around probably be more fun.
Then in my teens, once I started driving and I could start exploring more, I remember when I was younger, my mom bought a TV off of, didn't have OfferUp. I wanted to say OfferUp, but it was the newspaper. She would go on the newspaper clippings and she found a TV in North Slope in Tacoma. And I remember driving there and just being in awe of the houses. And I was like, this is where the rich people live. Mm-hmm. And then we grew up in a manufactured home in a really nice park over by Spanaway Lake High School, called Winchester Village, and I did love my mobile home park. It was my oasis. It was like being tucked away. A lot of people didn't know it was back there, and everyone kept really good care of their homes. But that, humble means, and really just had a draw to the North Slope homes. And then once I got my car and my Ship of Freedom, I named it the Pearl because that was when Pirates of the Caribbean came out. So I named my car the Black Pearl.
Oh, I love that.
And on bad days, I was going through a lot of depression back in my teens, and I would drive to Ruston and I'd go for a walk or I'd sit on a bench, and that was my happy place. Yeah. Ruston and Point just was the place where I could be with myself.
And the water's there.
And will always have a part of my heart.
Yeah. I love that. And so, on it a little bit, but how that neighborhood, how did that feel to you growing up? Parkland Spanaway?
Parkland Spanaway.
And then we're going to talk about what it looks like now.
Yeah. Parkland Spanaway was a love-hate relationship, mostly because I felt stuck. And I think I needed creativity, and I didn't know what I needed when I was younger. I just knew that there was something missing. Whereas when I get closer to Tacoma, like Central to Hilltop, North Tacoma, there's this creativity in the older homes. There's a different vibe out here that I was drawn to and needed. Now that I'm older, the while where I kind of to the area because it's a great place. There are great pockets of areas to raise your kids. It's affordable. Yeah. There's some great communities out there, and I changed my perspective as I got older, but I still feel more drawn to what I call the wingtip of Tacoma. Which is, North Tacoma. It looks like a wing.
Yeah.
I'm an obsession with birds.
Yes,
put a bird on it.
So going back, we're going to stay here for a second about the difference between when you were a child and then now. We touched on it before we started talking, before we hit record and started recording the podcast. But something that you were talking about that's changed in Tacoma that's no longer here was...
Never Neverland at Point Defiance.
And I've never heard of it. So I'm so excited to hear what Never Neverland is.
Yeah, I remember when I was little, we went to Point Defiance one time. A lot of times we didn't drive out that far and we kind of local. But I remember this place and it was funny because for a long time I thought I had made it up. And I was just like, nope, I had a wild imagination when I was little.
I love that.
So then I was like, oh, that place doesn't exist because no one knows what I'm talking about. And then finally one day I saw an article on Never Neverland and I was like, oh my God, it did exist. And if you haven't heard of it, I would definitely Google it. But there was all these giant statues of books, of shoes, of like cartoon, and you know, very immersive before immersive was a cool word. Yeah. And it was Wonderland. So
someone else remembered it. You thought you made it up.
Yeah, it was like Pizza and Pipes. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard Pizza and Pipes. Like, that was a cool place out in University Place. And like the whole place was so creepy. It was like had so many organs and eating pizza and there's a lot of cool places like that in Tacoma that are no longer around. And then there's new cool places.
Yeah. It's nostalgic to think about.
Yes.
And I would be curious to see who else remembers Never Neverland.
Yes.
Now I want to know, when did you decide to sell homes here?
I was in Running Start and I was going to go
What high school did you go to?
Franklin Pierce High School. Uh-huh. And then no one probably really knows me because I was very shy back then. And I did Running Start. And I, at that time, was going to go into nursing. I took a break because I was way too much of an overachiever and burnt myself out senior year. And I went to school I was trying to get my prereqs for nursing. My brother was working at the bank, got me a job at KeyBank. And my career started to grow there. So I stopped school and continued my career in banking. The manager at KeyBank brought me over to Wells Fargo and promoted me to a lead teller, which then I got promoted to banker. It was a really great experience. There was something kind of missing in my life. And, you know, older, it was that corporate world is a little bit hard for me. It was a great beginning. It gave me good foundations of work ethic. There are some things I needed to iron out within myself of being on time.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that really enhanced my skill sets. But after having kids, you know, I needed something that was a little bit more flexible. And my parents were in real estate.
Baking's 9 to 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad used to be in real estate back in the 90s, early 2000s. And I remember being like, I'm never going to do real estate. I hated their job. They always talked about houses. I thought it was super boring.
That is so funny.
And I was just being a teenager who wanted attention, right? So, Century 21 is where I started in real estate. It didn't feel like the right fit for me. I didn't know kind of what my fit was until I found the person that, you know, or helped me realize how to do real estate on my terms and to port an introverted intuitive, because I just refused a cold call. Like, no one could force me to do it. I was like, I'm going to quit before I do it.
Yep.
Doesn't align with me. My biggest thing I've talked about on the last podcast, I'm going to talk about it all the time, is do your business is like the golden rule. Do unto others as you want them to do to you. And I don't like being cold called.
I don't either.
So I will never probably go with business. I have never in my life gone with business from someone calling me.
Me either.
So it's going to have to be word of mouth or because I found it. And so that's kind of thing. Build a garden and the bees will come. And that's what we're doing with, you know, that's how we do our business, is like, if you do a good enough job, if you work hard, go the extra mile for your clients.
Yeah.
You know, people take care of us and we take care of them. And that's the kind of community that I wanted to build.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to build.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only times that we've sold some houses where, it's going to provide wonder to our clients. And sometimes I get provided wonder in return. And there's just so many beautiful streets in Tacoma, beautiful homes.
So what do you think, in a couple sentences, what does Tacoma mean to you? If we're wrapping up this episode and talking about that you grew up here, then you decided to start your career here. Of course, your career is still here. You're building business here.
Yeah.
So what does Tacoma mean to you?
Yeah. So, you know, like I talked about in the beginning, is I always wanted to move. I always wanted to leave. And, you know, I have a hard time with winter sometimes. No, every winter I kind of have a hard time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to live in sunshine. So I've been called a lot of times to like try and go live in sunshine. However,
like go move a different state, go to a sunny state.
Yeah. However, the hard part for me is that a lot of states, when I go visit them, there seems to be like one culture or like one style of living. And it's hard for me to completely explain other than that Tacoma has so much variety and so many different cultures. There's so many different pockets of Tacoma. Like within one part of Tacoma, there's so many different ways to live your life. And I love that variety. I love the different types of people. I love that it's like a big giant melting pot. And it's really hard to find that anywhere else. And maybe that's just because now I have rooted down here and it's just home to me. So then it's kind of like my mindset of like, okay, and I'm going to go visit different places and go travel to different places, but this is my home stop. This is where I rejuvenate. This is where I am myself. And the people here just, I am in love with the people here. The way that we are known as, you know, the grit city because of it's a hardworking, a hardworking city. We have so many artists who are living, you know, like the one who just started the flea market. There's just so many inspiring people here who are living their life's calling and that just more community to the space. And I'm just can't imagine living anywhere else. And I've researched different places, you know, where I could find something like this. And it's just, I haven't found it yet. So
yeah, I think that that's what this show is about. It's not just the homes in the market. It's about what it means to actually belong somewhere and what Tacoma means to you. And we're trying to share Tacoma with everybody who might be
the people here.
It's
the homes
for anybody who might want to move here, but also just for people who love Tacoma.
See you on the next one.